Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Lake Hot Rods. Just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year and hope the holidays were nice to you. Hope you got all your good car parts from Santa Claus under the tree, and gonna start the new year off and get this project moving, get it rolling forward, and see if we can make some progress on this girl. And today we're gonna do just that. So stick around, check it out, and like, share, subscribe, comment, do all those cool things, and we're gonna get started and get some work done. All right, so we moved on to pull the center console out of the car and got started cutting on some this round stock here. I want to build the surround around the shifter opening so it kind of helps match and tie in all these ribs and just tie in where I cut a big hole in the console where it doesn't belong. Just got to figure out a way to probably have to trim the hole a little bit so that it'll sink these round stocks pieces down a little. Just I don't want them, they're a little too high and they're just a little too tall. I actually may end up sanding the bottom of them flat, see if I can get them just to sit better. And I don't want them too much higher than the ribs here, but I think they'll end up being that way anyway. If I drop them down about halfway, that might work too. That's an option. So there's a few things. I may end up welding them all together and make the surround and then use the whole thing as that way I'm not fumbling around with 4 different pieces trying to line them up. It'll just probably make it easier. So let's head that direction. When I get done with that, blend it all in, I'll go ahead and start finishing up, add more of these across here to the lid and try to go all the way to the back and slowly fade them away to nothing. But yep, more grinding, cutting, welding, etc. So I'm really winding down on cutting and fabbing. I really feel like it's not too much left. So I know I've said that before, but I'll keep saying it because it's a positive reinforcement for me because I'm about tired of it. I get this thing finished up, but we still got a ways to go. So stick around and hopefully one day y'all will see the end results. So let's get to it. Try to get it. I'm not necessarily thinking 100% level with these. I think raised to be fine. And the shifter's pronounced. It'll be all right. That's good. I'll tack it on there and see what we come up with. One of the little shims is needed. Pull this down a little bit. I think it bowed up a little bit when I welded it. I think it'll look good. It'll match the ribs here. I'll blend it in once I get it welded, and I think it'll look really nice. Help kind of tie in the shifter, make it look like it'll belong there. Need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 ribs. Oh, it's a little narrow back here, so I'm going to cut one. Just keep them in order, I guess. Plus, they also need a bend because that console is not flat. All right, just so you can see what I've done here. Obviously, I've got a round rod. How about that? Obviously, I've got a round rod, and all I'm doing is flattening an edge of it so that it'll sit flush on the top of the console, and we'll taper the ends over. And I'm thinking, instead of welding all the way around to both sides, I'll drill the holes in the console lid and just plug weld it and get it just attached like that, and then I'll come back over it and run some filler over it, and it'll be just fine. I think it'll be more than enough. More than enough to attach it to the console lid. So more of the same. It's going to just take freaking forever to do this. I've got 20 more to go, it seems like. So I'll get to it and get you back in here when I start welding, and we'll finish it up. So I got all the welding done, and there was a lot of it. Now I've got to do a lot of grinding, and that's just even more fun than welding and all this work. But hey, you know what? It sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm not. I'm just talking. Got a lot of cleaning up to do on the welds, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. I got them straight, 19 of them, I think it was what I said, and I ended up drilling holes in them and just welding them from the bottom like a plate, and it seemed to be a lot better than running a bead across and then having to grind all that crap out. And now I don't have as much grinding to do, and I can go ahead go right to filler and dress it and make it look like it belongs. Make it look like these. I hope it'll work out. They seem to be a little bit higher, and I'm worried about that a little bit. But I think a filler job will work and help that. So got a lot more work to do. I did get a piece of steel round stock around the shifter hole, and that matches these beads here. And what I'm going to do is come back and with a Dremel and so tediously grind around that painstakingly. Got to still finish welding these guys here, and got these ribs welded on the back side, and I'll clean all that up and some more back here. But I'm really happy with the results. I'm going to take the grinder and blend them in. Yeah, just some grinding and some body work, and it'll look pretty good, I think. I'm still want to keep this, but I'm still kind of on the fence. Now it matches my gauges, the round dial, but I don't know if it's too old for the style of the car or not. But I'm still going to keep it for now and see what I can come up with in the future with it. But we'll keep going after it, and we'll get it wrapped up. So I'm working on the console again, of all things. I realized when I want to put my wires through the console, so to hide them and all that, and I ended the console with this piece here, and didn't realize, beforehand, I had really nowhere for my wires a path for it. If I cut it in half, there's no support there, and I would have to build a cover, and that would be exposed because the rear seat doesn't start till right back in here somewhere. So what I have decided to do is cut the console end off that I had originally, and I put the back part of the original console flowed here and down and went way back here, because I guess in the Thunderbird that it came out of, they had bucket seats in the back and kind of like a waterfall type thing back there. Not 100% sure, but I think that's where it looked like it dove in. But anyway, so I'll come back over here to the workbench, and we'll see where I've added that back on and kind of got a better idea of better solution to cover up the wires. All right, so the better solution is to add this piece back on. I had originally cut this off because there was an ashtray here, and I wanted to get rid of that. And I didn't like how it didn't do anything for me at the time, and so I ended it right here originally. So I cut that cap off, which is what I had down there, and basically moved it to here. And I'm going to cut this out, and then I'll have a piece on the bottom wrap around and kind of end that and make like a little tunnel there so the wires will come through. And this will be underneath a seat of some sort or a back deck area. I don't actually have the seat. I'm not sure what happened to it, but it's long gone. So I may put a piece of wood back there just to cover the floor and finish the rear, because I'm not too concerned with back seats. It's just me and my wife. My daughter will be driving before I'm done with this thing, so I'm not too concerned about a rear passenger. There'll be more for storage and maybe a stereo, who knows. Anyway, way off subject. So I'm going to come back through here and get this piece welded on, get this other side welded on. We'll put it back in the car and try to see where I need to cut. And I'll probably cut an arch out of here. And that'll give this something to transition down and just end. Got to get this welded and make this bottom panel to finish the rest of the bottom of the console part of the car and what this part sits on, and then we'll get it all buttoned up. Just wanted to kind of catch you up. I've been kind of moving around a little bit here this couple of days, and finally kind of settled in on this project for the rest of the week, and just been doing some body work and sanding. And it's boring, so I don't film all that crap. But yeah, let's keep going. Got a few little dings in it, but most of that's going to be covered with the seat, so it is what it is. All right, so now I'm going to put this back in place, and I'm going to build my sides to curve around the bottom. The part that's part of the car will this will sit on it. So let's go back to the car and see what we can come up with. All right, so you can see I got the console in, and I've got to fill the void here. This is the part that's going to stay in the car. This mounts to that. I've got a little tip flange at the top of that, and I want to try to replicate that in my little template here I made. So it'll swoop back and fill that void, and then that bottom part there will just stay open so that I could pass my wires. That bottom part right here will stay open so I could pass my wires through it. Needed to add a little material here to my pattern before I cut it out of metal so I can catch this bolt hole or screw hole. It's a sheet metal screw. Might be just enough, but I'm probably going to end up doing this curves. So I'll have to curve that as well. Once I tip it, then I'll figure out how to curve it. Then I'm going to cut this piece out. And I've got a little bitty sliver here that's kind of a void. I want to fix that. So I've got to do that with my template. But this also works on the other side. So I'm going to cut two of these out and get that finished up, get that figured out. And the rest, the wires can just be exposed there. I can probably loom them on this tunnel here, and that'll be covered up. And I'll probably try to go just to the bottom edge of that, and that'll leave plenty of room for wiring to pass through and not be damaged. So let's find some sheet metal, and we'll get this thing cut out. All right, so we got a lot of the console there wrapped up. Couldn't do a lot of filming because it's just kind of hard to get in and out of the car here and film it and to where you can see it. I made the panel out of some steel, and I got the other side done as well. So welded it in, and I really feel like it finishes up the console a lot better. I left the back open a little bit so I could get some wiring through there, and I want to tidy that up and finish it. Not sure exactly how I'm going to do that just yet, but maybe just kind of make a little hoop and keep it from getting crushed, and just finish the back side of that panel. Even though the line of the floor here is where probably the front edge of that seat's going to be, so all that'll be covered up under the seat or under a panel. I don't know. I may sink the panel right below, come around behind it, so the console will stay above my panel on the floor. just to the bottom edge of that. That might look good too. I just thought about that. So probably, like I said, just do some I'll just do some MDF along the backside here and maybe some storage compartments until I get some seats. I'm really not concerned with back seats right this second. I do want to find a nice pair of buckets and replace the ones that I've got that I've been working with. They're definitely temporary, and just to kind of get my seating position and get the steering column and all that lined up in the gauges. So that did help. So they're more of a tool than they are a final product. So I moved ahead pretty good bit. Like I said, yesterday I went ahead and welded this in place, capped the ends, and I added this arch piece here, so that'll give me my tunnel for the wires to pass through. And this is going to be squared off once I get this mud sanded down a little bit, and it'll slide right in. Console come around and end right there and come straight down, and this will clamp in place. I was going to weld this over the bottom side of the tunnel there, then I realized I wouldn't be able to get the wires out of there if I did that right here. So I went ahead and just made it a separate piece, and it fits great. I'm real happy with that. Went ahead and added a little bit of filler here over the welds where I've extended this panel. Originally it would be right here, and I extended it so I could add my gas filler here and cut out for the trunk lid. But I'm thinking what I'll do is round. I want to round the trunk corners because the upper ones are round, as you can see there. Come around here, now they're squared off, and I don't see any other hard square lines. Everything's got a gentle curve or roundness, so I may come in here and do that. And that's why I didn't add any filler in here where these two panels matched up from the factory. There's a little bit of pitting in there, but I've got all the rust cleaned up underneath that primer, and I just didn't want to mud in there before I start welding in here. I may go ahead and try to do that today and just knock it out and then get the trunk lid fit. Nibbling away at the bodywork because I hate it so much, so I'll do little pieces at a time, and I've sanded that. I've got that filled in. I need to go over this with some actual feather filler because that's just fiber fill because I went over the weld with it. And shoot, really the rest of it, really just spots here and there that filler needs to be sanded, and I'll sand the whole car with a DA, and then we'll reprime it, get a gray coat of primer on it, and start doing some blocking, get some dry guide coat on it, and shoot, it's going to be moving along pretty good. Let's see, I did make a dummy pulley for my air conditioning pump because I don't have one. Like I said, I don't want to buy one just yet. Got that lined up. I just need to finish welding it and clean it up and round it over and make it look presentable until it's, like I said, it's temporary, but I still want it to look nice. So that lines up pretty good and makes the belt arrangement line up good. I got this just as an idler pulley off of the stock water pump, and I think it was the power steering pump, the big pulley on that, and that's where that pulley came from. So I kind of measured, got an idea of what the diameter of the real pulley is that's going to be there, and I moved this out. So hopefully when I get a belt and run this pulley, when I do add the AC pump, that same belt will still work. If it doesn't, yeah, I have to get a new belt, but if it does, I won't have to. So just kind of trying to think ahead. I'm not too good at that, but sometimes I work myself into a corner and you got to back up and try again. But man, yeah, so some sanding is what a lot of this is. Where I did some filler work on here, and same here. This whole front section's got to be sanded still yet. I got the transmission cooler plumbed in. That's tied in. It goes to the transmission. These are factory steel lines that I just adapted to the tank here. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this air intake. The bumper comes across it, so it's a small opening, but I don't want to block where I put these holes in here. I don't want to block that off to get some airflow over these fins. So I really don't know what to do with it. I'm going to wait until I get my air conditioning condenser in place. So I know I've got a lot of room. I don't have a lot of room, so I want to make sure the room that I do have is utilized correctly before I go filling this in and then have to come back and cut it out. This may be all I can do. I'll just come back and finish these edges and get them tidied up and welded together. And like I said, I've gotten a lot further along than I thought. I'm going to coat this with the thin film of filler and get it tidied up, and then matches up pretty good here. Once this fender is put in place correctly, it'll match up pretty good with that one as well. So I squared those off so that they'll match better and flow. So I'll go ahead and start rounding the corner on this trunk lid here. I was kind of trying to see about trying to keep this curve here in there, and don't know really a way to get that kind of started. Just trying to think out kind of plan of attack here. I know what, let's see what I can do here. So something along those lines. You know, it's a simple deal to do it, but actually to make it look right and make it flow is a whole nother deal. So that looks pretty good, actually. Pretty good on the first try. It, you know, symmetrical throughout the curve part there. So, yep. Let's do that. I'll cut it out of some scrap steel I had here from the console, and that way I don't have to waste this piece. Make sure I get a good cut. So I'm gonna cut out 2 of those, and I'll use that one for the other side. That way I make sure I got the same. So that way I know I got the same shape. All right, let me get this cut out. Be right back. All right, so I got the front sheet metal piece here made. I'm gonna go through and then I gotta cap it and make that blend in nicely so that I don't have this void right here. So it'll bring this up and just bring it in just like I did here and just like I did there, follow that line. So gonna make a pattern and we'll get that in place and see what we can come up with. So I've still got a little cleaning up to do on the weld here in the groove in the inner edge there, I guess you'd call it. But I like that sweep. It looks good. Follows that pretty nicely. It actually matches more towards the contour of the other curve up there at the top corner. But I'm pretty happy with that. So again, I've got to do the other side and make it match. But yeah, really happy with that. There's a couple little spots like here. I think I might have burned through that a little bit with the grinder. I'm gonna re-weld that and get a good hot penetration weld. Get a good hot penetrating weld and should be able to keep that from happening. But overall, that looks pretty cool. I like it. I've always wanted to do it, and I feel like that looks cool. I like it. All right, on to the next one. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do all those cool things.